What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and today we have something special for you guys. MLB the Show 21 is coming. Relocation and rebranding have been announced as some of the upgrades to franchise mode. There are many teams that could be the franchise selection team for MLB the Show 21, and while I do not plan on doing a relocation team for the realistic franchise mode on this channel, there are some teams I'm looking at, and I need your help to decide who will be the team. So let's take a look at some of the choices we have. First, we have the Detroit Tigers. This is their projected lineup. Nico Goodrum. They have Jonathan Scope joining the team over from the Brewers. He's been a decent player for a good portion of his career, probably a 20 home run guy at second base at this point. We're going to need to decide at some point what to do with Miguel Cabrera. He could be the guy like Felix Hernandez was for my Mariners series this year at MLB the Show 19, where we try to keep him as long as we can until he decides to retire. CJ Cron coming over from the Angels. He joins up. He had 30 home runs for Tampa Bay in 2018. We'll see what he's able to do. He's got some decent power numbers. Could definitely be one of those good middle-of-the-order guys. Heimer, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Heimer Candelario. We got Kristen Stewart. These guys are longtime Tigers, as well as Victor Reyes, who's now coming up through the system, 24 years old. Austin Romine comes over from the Yankees, the 30-year-old catcher, and he had one of his better seasons in 2018 with 10 home runs. Obviously, this doesn't have last year's numbers in it because I'm using MLB the Show 19 since 20 isn't out yet. Jacoby Jones, of course, one of the more up-and-coming players for the Detroit Tigers. Looking at their pitching rotation, projected to be Matthew Boyd as the ace of the staff. He hasn't really put together an amazing year yet. Hopefully we can get him to do so. Jordan Zimmerman coming over, and he will stick with the Tigers. He has been with them since 2016. Ivan Nova coming over from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's pretty much a 4-something ERA type of guy. Doesn't really do much more than that. Daniel Norris, longtime Tiger, sticking with the team, and he's a more up-and-coming type of player. And then Spencer Turnbull, the 4th starter. He pitched in 2018 for a 6.06 ERA, so a lot to be desired there. Michael Fulmer, the only reason why I don't put Michael Fulmer in this is because he has an injury that is going to sideline him probably till mid-season, so I won't be pitching with him the entire franchise until mid-season through season number 1. That's when we'll bring him back. We're going to make the injury realistic. Joe Jimenez, the closer here, we used him in the Seattle Mariners franchise, so a familiar face there for the Tigers. It'll be nice to see what Boyd can do, though, and how much he can improve. Second choice that we have is the Chicago White Sox. Yoan Moncada, big player for them. 88 overall, it shows here with this roster that I'm using, but he's a 23-year-old player at this point. I mean, just one of those really nice young bats. Tim Anderson, another nice young bat, more of a contact hitter than a power hitter, but man, he could be that 2-hole guy. He could be that 5-hole guy. Definitely a guy that could be nice. Abreu, more of the power bat of the team, but 32 years old, so he's starting to age. We'll have to see what ends up happening with contracts and stuff like that. But Jose Abreu's a nice player. They bring in Yasmani Grandal from the Brewers, and man, he's a heck of a player. He's been pretty good for a while, even when he was with the Dodgers. And it'll be nice to see what Grandal's able to do and able to be for this team at 30 years of age still. I mean, but he's one of the better catchers in all of baseball, so it'll be nice to see what he can do. Edwin Encarnacion, there's the familiar face that is on the Chicago White Sox, as we had him in the Seattle Mariners franchise for a little bit, and he was a pretty damn good power hitter, and he could still be. Eloy Jimenez is also on this team, one of their best young prospects. Nomar Mazara, another nice young player. Luis Robert, another really nice young player who was a prospect for this team. And Lori Garcia, which is probably the most underwhelming, unexciting player on the team, never hit 10 home runs. As we look at the pitching staff, Lucas Giolito is a nice young ace arm. It'll be nice to see the 6'6" guy and what he can bring to the table in the future. Dallas Keuchel, another familiar face, as we did sign him in the Seattle Mariners franchise, and he's a pretty darn consistent pitcher. It'll be nice to see if he can continue that, as Ronaldo Lopez is coming up, 25 years old. Really nice young pitcher. We couple that with Gio Gonzalez, who is another veteran, much like Dallas Keuchel. So a couple veterans, couple young guys. And then Dylan Cease, the projected 5th starter, until Carlos Rodon is able to come back into the rotation, as he is projected to have an injury that might sideline him until May or June. So that is another guy that we will not be putting in the lineup if we were to take over the White Sox until we are able to know that he is back. Evan Marshall, Kelvin Herrera, some really nice middle relieving pitchers on this White Sox. They have a decent bullpen. Steve Cishek, one of the setup men. Jace Fry, a nice young setup man. And Alex Colome as the closer, who came over from the Rays. And pretty nice, young, exciting team. I don't know if this is how you guys want to go, but if we go with this team, it's really just building what they have. It's a very young team. Then, taking a look at our third choice. Both of these final choices will be in the National League. We have the Philadelphia Phillies. Andrew McCutchen, getting a little old here, but he's been a relatively consistent bat. JT Realmuto, who has emerged as one of the best catchers in all of baseball, who came over from the Marlins last year. Bryce Harper, the big free agent signing from Washington. His rating has been a little nerfed. I don't know that MLB 20 is going to allow that to happen, but it was nerfed in this roster. Rhys Hoskins, the 78 overall, apparently, 26-year-old, another nice bat. They bring over Didi Gregorius from the New York Yankees, who has hit mid-20s in home runs for the last couple of years. Gene Segura they bring over from the Mariners. They had already done that in trade, I believe. Scott Kingery, one of their young up-and-coming prospects. Adam Haseley, another young up-and-coming prospect-type player. So a couple prospect-type players who are now being brought up to the majors. Jay Bruce, a nice bench bat. We look at their rotation. Aaron Nola is a great ace, 25 years old. Just a nice ace. Zach Wheeler they bring in from the Mets. They just signed this offseason. He had a really nice season last year. He's actually had 3 out of 4 good seasons that are shown there. Jake Arrieta has been very consistent for a while. I don't think he had the greatest year this year, but we'll see if we can get him back on track. Vince Velasquez has not been too amazing, but the game still gives him a decent rating. And Zach Eflin hasn't really been the best either, but again, the game gives him some room to grow. The bullpen, however, for Philadelphia, not the greatest from the middle relief to the long relief, but David Robertson coming in, he could be a really nice addition as a 7th or 8th inning guy. Jose Alvarez, same thing. He could probably be the 7th inning guy. And then Hector Neris as the closer. Not one of the best closers in baseball. He doesn't have a ton of experience closing, but he could be pretty good as well. It'll be nice to see what Scott Kingery can do as one of the main Phillies prospects over the last couple of years. We move on here with the Cincinnati Reds, and Shogo Akiyama, coming over from Japan, will be supposedly the projected leadoff hitter of this team. Joey Votto, who has taken a big dip over the last couple of years in production. He's at 35 years old. It'll be tough to see what we do with him. Do we let him retire with us? Eugenio Suarez, he's a really really nice player in the prime of his career. Mike Moustakas, same thing with him, another really good player who is in the prime of his career. Nick Castellanos comes over from the Tigers, who is, you know, another team that we are considering. Aristides Aquino, nice young player for the Reds. Freddie Galvis, he's kind of that veteran, journeyman type of bat, even though he was with the Phillies for the most part of his career and a couple years in San Diego. Tucker Barnhart, the catcher who's been here all along. And as you can see on the bench, Nick Senzel. Now, Senzel, really hot up-and-coming prospect, but he is projected to be shelved for a little bit. So, Sonny Gray, who came over from the Yankees, he is the apparent ace of the staff. I don't know, this is the projected pitching rotation. I'm actually giving you what's projected on rotoworld.com. Trevor Bauer projected to be the number 2 guy. Luis Castillo projected to be the number 3 guy, but that's a nice 1-2-3 punch at the pitching staff. Wade Miley is the number 4. I don't love him. I don't hate him. And Anthony Desclafani. I'm trying. But he is the 5th starter, so all of them decent enough players. Tyler Mahle, the long relief. Amir Garrett, the guy who was in the brawl with Yasiel Puig and all that other stuff. He is there. Michael Lorenzen is there. Robert Stevenson there as well. So not terrible in the middle relief. Pedro Strop just signed by the Reds not that long ago off the Chicago Cubs. Matt Bowman used to pitch for another division rival in the St. Louis Cardinals. So the Reds bringing in some division guys to help out. Raisel Iglesias has been there his entire career. He is still there, and he's been pitching pretty well over there as a closer. Moustakas, the big, huge signing coming over, and they've made some real moves in Cincinnati. So which team do you think that we should go with in MLB The Show 20? Let me know in the comment section below. I really do read every comment. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to see more MLB content on this channel, don't forget to drop a like button as well as subscribe if you are new to the channel. Take care, ladies and gentlemen.
You're a pretty little star boy. Look what you've done.